We've heard a lot about the rivalry between the founders of SpaceX and Blue Origin, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. But there is one contender in the match that we haven't been paying attention to: Astra. Astra is an emerging small company, but has had a rapid growth rate with the announcement of a brand new rocket. The private space company is humiliating Blue Origin as the main competition to SpaceX. Stay tuned as we take a closer look at how their recent success has humiliated the space giants in the space race. Hey guys, welcome to another exciting video from Space Chase. Before we get down to the details, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification feature to ensure you don't miss a video from us. Now let's get back to today's content. First and foremost, let's learn more about the Astra and its recent accomplishments. Astra is headquartered in Long Beach, California. It's second only to SpaceX in terms of launching frequency. The two are ostensibly the only American companies that regularly go into orbit. Its small flagship Electron rocket has flown 21 times in just under 4 years and delivered over 100 satellites into space, with only 3 failed launches earlier this year. Elon Musk has also stated in a tweet that it'll be Falcon 9 size sooner or later, and that by 2024, we can expect to see the Astra's own version of a reusable rocket that'll fly astronauts. The announcement about the neutron rocket came as quite a surprise, given that the Astra has mostly focused on launching tiny satellites on small boosters. So what has helped Astras thrive? Well, I've got to tell you, it's a pretty funny story. Race CEO Peter Beck was once so certain that his company would never reuse rockets like Elon Musk's SpaceX that he promised to eat his hat. Well, a few swallowed threads of blended hat later, Beck has dramatically changed his tune. In 2018, Astra decided to join the fray by attempting to make their Electron rocket reusable. The company is nearly finished with a development program that uses helicopters to catch Electron boosters after launches, and its neutron rocket will be reusable when it debuts in 2024. The company calls it a direct alternative to the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, and now it's a competition between the Falcon 9 and Neutron. I think anybody who isn't developing a reusable launch vehicle at this point in time is developing a dead-end product, because it's just so obvious that this is a fundamental approach that needs to be taken. Beck told reporters at a press conference on Tuesday that the Astra launched an Electron mission carrying satellites to the black sky last week, and for the third time successively recovered the booster from the water after returning it through the atmosphere. The Astra is using a new thermal protection system on its Electron booster to strengthen it for recoveries, a type of graphite that makes the carbon fiber rocket almost look metallic. Beck stated that the Astra launched an Electron mission carrying satellites for black sky last week and successfully recovered the booster from the water for the third time. The primary goal of Astras in reusing rockets is to increase production output. Beck's declaration is consistent with Musk's sentiment, who tweeted in response to an Astra recovery video that full and rapid reusability is the holy grail of orbital rocketry. Traditionally, rockets that launch satellites and spacecraft are expendable, which means that the booster, which is the largest and most expensive part of the rocket that gets it off the ground, is discarded after launch. SpaceX was the first to reuse orbital-class rocket boosters, with Musk's company regularly landing its Falcon boosters after launches and being able to reuse them up to 100 times with refurbishment. Astra's approach to recovering its Electron boosters differs from SpaceX's, which uses the engines to slow down during re-entry and deploys wide legs to land on large pads. Instead, Astra will guide the Electron booster back through the atmosphere and then deploy a parachute, which will be snagged by a helicopter above the ocean and carried back to land. In a variety of ways, reusing orbital rockets is becoming more feasible for businesses. SpaceX intends to take rocket landings to the next level with Starship Astra, which will include parachutes and helicopters for Electron rockets. With Astra's string of successes, it raises an important question: can they be SpaceX's biggest rival? Virgin Orbit touts a 747 jet approach as the reusable foundation of its launches, and Relativity Space unveiled plans to reuse its upcoming Terran R rockets. RocketMap believes there is a place for medium-lift rockets like theirs because most larger rockets don't always launch with their full payload, which means that Neutron can get the hardware out into orbit without spending exorbitant amounts of money and wasting storage space. And of course, reusable rockets will make the whole operation much cheaper in the long run. Furthermore, the Astra has most likely been closely watching what SpaceX has been doing with Falcon 9 flights, and they'll gain more experience with Electrons and apply those lessons learned to Neutron, so they can confidently say that Neutron will be designed to meet increased demand from customers who want to launch large multi-satellite constellations similar to Starlink. Their design will accommodate more payload, but it'll also deploy it faster. Because the new model is focused on efficiency and reusability, Neutrons will significantly expand their customer base and improve costs in a way that Electrons cannot, because the new model asserts that it'll be a vehicle that can replace the Falcon 9 when it eventually rests. However, there are still some differences between the two companies. Unlike SpaceX with its Crew Dragon vehicle, Astra isn't building its own crew capsules, and it's unclear what vehicles can launch on top of Neutron of it can start taking humans into orbit. Astra is not building an interplanetary spaceship like Starship or attempting to create a global satellite internet service like Starlink. The Photon satellite bus is the infrastructure for the spacecraft that usually tells ground control where the satellite is in orbit, and the Neutron will not simply work out of the box. Making it reusable will require test after test. Not even the Electron is fully reusable yet. On January 11, 2019, SpaceX announced that it would lay off 10% of its workforce to help fund the Starship and Starlink projects. Starship's initial prototypes and tests began in early 2019 in Florida and Texas. Later that year, all Starship construction and testing were relocated to SpaceX's new South Texas launch site. SpaceX also launched the first large batch of 60 Starlink satellites in May 2019, kicking off the deployment of what would become the world's largest commercial satellite constellation the following year. In 2019, SpaceX raised a total of $1.33 billion in 3 funding rounds. SpaceX's valuation had risen to $33.3 billion by May 2019, and it was expected to reach $36 billion by March 2020. SpaceX successfully launched 2 NASA astronauts, Doug Hurley and Bob Behnken, into orbit on a Crew Dragon spacecraft during Crew Dragon Demo 2 on May 30, 2020, making SpaceX the first private company to send astronauts to the International Space Station and the first crew launch from American soil in 9 years. The mission took off from the Kennedy Space Center's Launch Complex 39A in Florida. SpaceX's valuation increased to $46.5 billion in August 19, 2020, following a $1.9 billion funding round, one of the largest single fundraising pushes by any privately held company. SpaceX raised an additional $1.61 billion in an equity round from 99 investors in February 2021 at a per-share value of approximately $420, bringing the company's valuation to approximately $74 billion. To date, it has raised more than $6 billion in equity financing. In recent years, the capital-intensive phase has primarily supported the operational fielding of the Starlink satellite constellation, as well as the development and manufacture of the Starship launch vehicle. SpaceX's valuation had risen to $100.3 billion by October 2021. SpaceX has signed agreements with Google Cloud Platform and Microsoft Azure to provide on-ground compute and networking services for Starlink by 2021. Unsurprisingly, human spaceflight will be the company's main challenge with Neutron. Although the gap between SpaceX and Astra has suddenly shrunk when it comes to impact on the commercial space industry, but if or when Neutron is ready to fly in 2024, they'll be even closer. What are your thoughts on Astra? Let's know in the comment section below. And as always, if you enjoyed today's episode, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos from us. See you in the next video.